Have you ever wondered why some photos instantly grab your attention while others, even when you follow the famous rule of thirds, just fall flat? The real difference isn't about expensive gear or perfect lighting. It's about subtle compositional choices that separate casual snapshots from a work done by a professional. When you start photography, you are taught the essentials: the rule of thirds, leading lines, and centering your subject, and also that spiral thingy which I still haven't understood properly. These guidelines are great for training your eye, but they are just the basics. Professionals use a more advanced toolkit, what I like to call compositional upgrades, and they use it to create images that truly stick with the viewers. Here are 5 key upgrades you need to master. Number 1. Anchor your photos for visual stability. Think of your image like a ship. You need a compositional anchor to hold it steady and stop the viewer's eye from drifting away. The anchor is a strong visual element that grounds the entire frame. The cool thing about this technique is that anchor doesn't have to be your main subject. Let's take you to Cederberg here in South Africa. Look at this stunning landscape image of the Maltese cross. While the subject is the person standing in front of the Maltese cross, the compositional anchor is the cross itself, which adds visual weight. Interestingly, the composition follows the rule of thirds. In this night scene of Yosaka Pagoda in Kyoto, Japan, again, the subject is a person, but the compositional anchor is the pagoda in the background. In these 2 portraits that I'm about to show you, you might be wondering what the compositional anchor is, because it's just the face of the people. And the eyes of the person are the anchors that draw you directly into the frame. Now let's move forward to another image. And in this scene, my subject is actually the fisherman on the boat, but the anchor is the net he is casting. An anchor doesn't have to be a thing. It can just be light or lack of light as well. Anchors work because they have presence, they are placed strategically, and they provide necessary contrast, which is a key stability secret beginners often miss. Number 2, control the mood with emotional distance. Emotional distance is how you consciously control the psychological space between your subject and the person looking at the photo. It lets you dial up the intimacy or make the viewer feel like a distant observer. Let's have a look at a few examples to understand this concept. We can achieve this by filling the frame because close-up shots create intimacy and emotional connection. The subject looking you right in the eyes can make you wonder about their world. We can also use a wider aperture with a shallow depth of field to isolate subjects that draw viewers into their world. Look at this image. Although the girl is looking down and there is no connection, the shallow depth of field not only pulls your eyes into the scene, it also makes you wonder why she is looking down and what is she thinking. There is a mystery created here, but in a beautiful way. And from this shoot, my favorite ones are the elevated or lowered angles. Looking down at your subject can make them look small, whereas looking up at your subject can show them with authority or dominance. If you use a narrow aperture and create a great depth of field, keeping everything in focus can create a more observational, documentary feel, show vastness, or make you feel that you are right there in those moments. Look at these Zumba dancing trees. They look big from this angle, but trust me, they are actually quite small in size. It's the way I have positioned my camera to look at them. Ultimately, your choice depends on the story you want to tell. A happy portrait of a kid is very different from one where the kids look serious, and the difference is entirely within your control. Number 3, embrace the power of vertical shots. Most photographers default to horizontal format, especially for landscapes. But vertical composition offers unique and often overlooked storytelling power. It's not just about turning your camera sideways and then taking photos. It's about seeing space differently. It's all about observation, and no rule will tell you this. Vertical shots naturally guide the eye from the foreground right up to the background. They often feel more personal and intimate, in my opinion. Look at these 3 images of Table Mountain. I love these two horizontal shots, the colors, the patterns, the foreground, middle ground, and background. Gorgeous moments, my favorite moments when shooting Table Mountain. But the photo that I love the most, and I have printed as well, as you can see here in the background, is a vertical composition. More intimate and without your eye getting distracted by the wide vista. It helps you appreciate each layer of the image more effectively. The purpose is not lost with the vertical shot of Table Mountain. I wanted to show the beauty of Table Mountain, and a vertical composition did it more profoundly. Remember, you can create powerful vertical compositions even from horizontal captures through thoughtful cropping in post-processing. So basically you are composing while editing. This gives you the best of both worlds: flexibility during shooting and creative control during editing. One piece of advice. Actually, it's a caution. Do not fall into this trap of vertical shots all the time. The beauty of some images might get lost if I crop them vertically. That's why I sometimes feel that platforms like Instagram have somewhat devalued the wide angle and horizontal format shots. They have their own charm, and I have fallen into this trap of taking vertical shots. Look at these images of the Balinese dancers. In those moments, it made sense to shoot vertically. But recently I wanted to send one of these images to an online blog for a client, and I didn't have a horizontal shot to give them. What a pity. Number 4, soft framing with natural blurs. Forget the old school harsh vignette. We are talking about environmental framing here. When you use blurred elements within the scene to subtly frame and highlight your subject. You can position your subject behind a blurred foreground or surround them with out-of-focus components in your scene. This technique adds depth and context without being distracting. The beauty is that the viewer shouldn't consciously notice the border, the blur. Their eye should just naturally fall onto your subject. It's a sophisticated way of acknowledging that sometimes what you don't show, the soft blur, is as important as what you do show, the crisp subject. Have a look at these photos. I prefer the images in which the person is slightly obstructed by other people moving into the frame. Number 5, make your subject pop with separation. This is a master technique for avoiding disappointment. Even if you place your subject perfectly using the rule of thirds, they can still vanish if they blend into the background. Subject separation means recognizing and avoiding visual conflicts. The composition becomes ineffective when your subject and the background share similar brightness or color values, or if the background element awkwardly overlaps with your subject. Let's look at these two edited photos. In one with people in the background, the subject is blending in with the background, even though I desaturated the colors in the background. Mastering this is about more than just a wide aperture. It's about choosing your angle, light, and shooting location carefully. You need to ensure your background is controlled so your subject stands out and the final image looks clean and impactful. With that, just remember, these 5 compositional upgrades are the real foundation for your professional work. They require practice, but once you master them, you will naturally move past beginner rules and start creating photographs that truly resonate. Let me know in the comments below which of these compositional techniques you already use and if you have more tips for me. Thank you for watching. This is Muji. I am a professional photographer based in sunny Cape Town, South Africa. Hit that like button, subscribe, and do all those nice things to the video so we stay in touch. I will see you in the next one. Until then, Khuda Paman.